Okay, well, hi everyone, and thank you very much for watching or listening. Liam Hartree here today with another episode of Presenting Champions for the Simply Inspired podcast. Today, I'm joined by Dean the Taff Morris, boxer who has got a very, very exciting backstory with some of the things he's overcome to get where he is today. As always, my interviews, it's not just about fighting, but we're also going to be talking about positivity, hope, upliftment, all the good stuff. And since coming back, Dean has a very, very exciting fight coming up on June 17th, Welsh Combat Series. We'll be talking more about that in a moment, including the bare knuckle side of things. Obviously, Welsh Combat Series has a rapidly growing promotion taking over Wales, and Dean's going to be part of that journey. But as I said, we're going to be talking about the past, the present, and the future. So, Champ, thank you for coming on the show, and it's a real pleasure.
Pleasure. Yeah, I couldn't wait.
Yeah, good to have you, and I'm glad you reached out to me, and glad we could make this happen because I know there's a lot to talk about. So, getting into it from the beginning, well, it's not really from the beginning, but actually starting with the present day, starting with your upcoming fight June 17th. Let's talk a little bit about that because obviously you're coming back after some time away.
Yeah.
Training seems to be going well. So, talk to us about how things are going a little bit, please.
They're going great, to be honest. Like I said, I didn't think I'd be back doing boxing, never mind bare knuckles, So obviously it all started 8 weeks ago. I was in a bit of a stage where my mental health wasn't too good. And my partner, obviously she supports me all the time. She said, well, go back training. I was like, yeah. I said, it wasn't too if and buts. But then I trained. And I was like, yes, I've got it back. But I said, babe, if I'm coming back to this, I said, I'm not going back to them. I want to go bare knuckle. And she was right. I'll support you no matter what you want to do. So basically, I started training. I was running every day. I'm still running. I'm still training hard 3 times a day. So you know what I mean? I'm ready for it. And to be honest though, I haven't felt this heart I got back in here since I was 15. So from the amateur days to now, do you mean I've got it back? The love for it I got from it now is stronger than I had when I was younger. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely incredible. I mean, I got a lot of respect for that, coming back from from tough times and everything. And I always say to people, getting in the gym, it's like medicine, isn't it? I mean, medicine, mind, the soul, emotions, body, everything,
Yeah. I literally get home from it and I'm like so chilled. Otherwise, like I said, I'm a busy boy. Like if I haven't done nothing, you won't see me sleeping until 6 o'clock the next morning. That's doing. But obviously, because of training, I trained 3 times a day. Even when I was training on the weights, do you know what I mean? I was training twice a day. So obviously with boxing, it's a lot more harder. So I'm training 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and evening, and then the run. But yeah, it does wear me out. And then when I get home, I'm relaxed. Sometimes I can't even eat my food. I'm dropping off.
So, yeah, it's the best way though. I mean, you come out,
of course,
get that warm feeling. You just feel, so much better than when you went in. Just the endorphins and the whole vibe. Plus, obviously, the social side of it as well. If you're with some good people, that makes all the difference. So, yeah, I would say to anyone who's listening to this who is having those troubles, go and get in the gym.
Even just message me if they're going for. I mean, obviously the people that knows me on you now. Do you mean? Just give me a message, or even people that don't know me. Do you mean? If there's anything I can, I will. Do you mean? Because I've obviously suffered. I still suffer. Do you mean? So
that's good, man. Yeah, they should reach out to you. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a beautiful thing. I mean, when people are going through these things, a lot of people think they're the only one, and they're not the only one. You're not going to be the first, not going to be the last. There's always someone else who's been through it. So reach out. I'm glad you said that. So,
of course,
obviously, coming back into the gym after that time away, was it like, riding a bike, like it all just came back to you straight away, or was there a little bit of sort of at the beginning?
To be honest with you, when I first come back, I was slow. I was out of breath, obviously, as you understand, coming back to the gym anyway. I went from the bodybuilding 90 kilo down to the weight I am now, which is 78 kilograms. So I've dropped that much in 3 months. It was a killer. It was. I was out of breath. I'd get up in the morning, my back would be tortured, but I'd still push through it to go for that run. Do you mean? I pushed myself all the time. I still do now. Like, do you mean? But it was really hard at first, but it never gets easier. But that's a part of the journey I love, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it never gets easier, but you get stronger, don't you? You get stronger
Oh,
to put through it
oh,
mentally, physically, you know.
believe it or not, I'm stronger now than I was in the weights. Some, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm smaller as well.
Yeah. So yeah, let's give a mention to that. I know you sort of touched on it just now. You mentioned about the weights and the bodybuilding, but talk a little bit more about what you were
Yeah,
doing with that time, because obviously I also think it's quite a cool switch of disciplines, if you get what I
of
mean,
course.
that to boxing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But basically, I was interested in doing a bodybuilding show. So I went back to training and I trained, like I said, dramatically up the weight. In a matter of like 5 months, I'd put on like 3, 4 stone. So I was like, this is, and because I'm not used to being 90 kilo, that was another thing as well. It was hard because like walking around on 90 kilo when I've gone from like an 80 kilo boy doing or 70 sometimes doing, depends on that month. Doing some months I'd be 70 kilo, and the other one I'd be 80. It's my body drops weight and up weight when it wants. It's quite weird, my body is. But it was not enough for me. Bodybuilding wasn't enough. It didn't fill that bag inside. And then like I didn't realise this until I got back in here. When I got back in here, that love for like century on, it came back and I was instantly like, that's the part I've been missing. Like don't get me wrong, I still train weights here now. And I mean the gym we got here is everything's here. Do you know what I mean? We've seen MMA here, kickboxing, boxing, do you know what I mean? And like I said, there's weights here for the MMA and obviously the boxing and kickboxing. So do you mean I'm still training like I was, as well as the cardio side to it and the runs, and I mean it's just added on really.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, it makes sense how it's come together. I think that's
yeah,
super cool, man. I think
yeah,
that's wicked, actually. Fair play to you,
yeah.
and switching it up in that way. So obviously, quick mention for June 17th. A couple of things.
Mhm.
Do you have a prediction for the fight? Do you have a prediction how it's going to go, or
Um,
not
to be
yet?
honest with you, the boy I'm fighting, which he'd be happy if I named him anyway. Luke Campbell, very nice boy. We are actually good friends. And a big up Luke for taking the fight after 2 dropouts before that. Yeah, it's going to be a tough fight. It's not going to be an easy one. The boy can box, but so can I. If he comes in, he wants a brawl, he'll get a brawl. Do you know, I'm ready for either one of them. It doesn't faze me. But yeah, I'm training hard for this fight. I know what he's going to bring. Do you know what I mean? And he's an hard hitter as well, which I could be an hard hitter for my weight as well. So it doesn't really. It's going to be a scrap and a half. We're both the same like style in boxing. Obviously I'm a bit different, as I used to train for Dan Chapman as well. So I picked kind of Dan's more to in and a bit of my old coaches as well. So I got a bit of 2 different styles in me at the minute. And I got this gym I'm in now. I'm starting to pick up another style. So it's like 3 different styles of me. But the boy hasn't seen me box since 2019. So he's going off my old boxing, which he's seen that fight because we both fought in the same show. That was a white collar show I was for Help for Heroes. But yeah, honestly, he's a good boy, and I'm not expecting an easy fight. I ain't, and I'm glad I got this fight with him because I don't like easy fights. I don't.
No, that's it. I mean, you want to be the best, you've got to fight the best. You
Oh,
say it,
yeah,
100%. So obviously, with that in mind as well, people want to watch the fight, come to the fight, or anything like that. Obviously, the ticket side of
yeah,
things. I should say as well. Obviously, we're talking about June 17th. It's
yeah,
sort of the end of April for anyone who's watching this later in time. But
yeah.
yeah, at this point in time, people want to buy tickets or anything. How do
Just
they
give me a
contact you?
message.
What do they need to do?
Yeah, contact me on Instagram, Dean Morris Fitness, my Facebook, Dean Taff Morris, and yeah, that's the best way to contact me through Facebook anyway.
Absolutely, yeah, they can reach out to you. It's always good for people to know. I know
Yeah,
with the Welsh Combat, they always say, reach out any carded fighter, but
cool.
it's always good for people to know. And you're a
Yeah,
very approachable guy anyway.
of
So,
course, yeah.
absolutely. So, looking at obviously June 17th, looking a little bit past that, and I know it's never good to think too far ahead, but just in terms of the fact that
Mhm.
back in the game, you've got the love for it again, you've got the
Yeah,
fire in your belly, like you were saying.
yeah,
So looking sort of past June 17th, where do you want to go from there over maybe until like the end of the year or a little bit
yeah.
further in time?
Well, to be honest with you, like I said, I didn't think I'd be back doing this, and I mind being up, and now I'm in it. And like for instance, and if I win this fight, either win or lose, I still want to continue with the bare knuckle. I don't want to do gloves ever again in my life. I've had bad experience with the gloves. I've been robbed. I've won fights. I mean, I shouldn't have been stopped on or shouldn't have lost. So with bare knuckle, obviously, we just talk wrestling later. I've always been better with my hands bare than I have been with glove. So I think this will be a good thing for me. But I think it's going to go well, I think, for me, this bare knuckle, because the training side where once I'm dedicated to something, it's done. Do you know what I mean? And to be honest with you, if it's a better boxer, I'll find another way. Do you know what I mean? Because I won't give in on the fight. I'll never do that. Do you know what I mean? All my fights, I've never given in. I've always trained hard, and I've brought a show that he needs to be brought to.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, the future is very bright. I mean, you're back in the game, and obviously you're loving it again, and it's good because I can see even in your face lights up when you're talking about it. And it's just,
even talking about it now, and that feeling inside me, like, I mean, I've got it, and it's like I haven't had this for a long time. And to be honest with you, like, if I had carried on with this feeling inside me, I probably wouldn't have been the place that I've been before. But I've learned from those things I've been through to get to where I am now. So you go for the bad to get to the good. So
absolutely, absolutely, you do 100%.
Yeah.
And we need to touch on some of that stuff at this stage because, as I mentioned at the beginning, I mean, your life wasn't always like this. And I always say to people that I got mad respect for people who put their personal stories out there on these interviews. And I've said it to a few guests lately because, it's a very brave thing to do. It's as brave as getting in the ring, to get up on here and everyone to hear about like your personal stuff. So let's go back in time to actually how you started boxing, and we'll start there because that's a good point that people want to hear about where you first got bitten by the boxing bug, basically, as they say.
Basically, what it was, I'd been bullied for years and in school, all through different schools. Basically, I was a quiet kid, really quiet, and I didn't like violence. Believe it or not, even though I've been in trouble with it. But anyway, through school, I got bullied a lot. Then out of school, I started bonding with this guy, the traveling guy, which is now like my brother. I call him my brother now, and his mother I call Mum. Do you know what I mean? We're still close. He's living in London, but we still, we're still brothers. Well, anyway, me and him was always out together. We was like twins. We had the same hairstyle, same clothes. I mean, people thought we were brothers. Unfortunately, because we was unknown, we got targeted by a couple of boys. I'm not going to name them because now, to this day, we are good mates. I see them now, and they're like, do you know what I mean? It's as if it never happened. And I got a lot of respect for them, because if it wasn't for them boys that done this, I wouldn't be into the boxing. And what it was, my mother was cutting my ex-coach's hair, Pappy Jones, and she's cutting his wife's hair as well. And she said, "Oh, my boy's getting bullied." So Pappy said, "Get him up to the gym." He said, "Get him with me, and I'll get him confident." And I'll try, she said. So she come home, she mentioned it to me. I was like, oh, I said, "Can Gareth come?" And she said, "Well, yeah, that's the idea of it, Dean, because you're both together and you're both getting targeted by these boys. You've got to start sticking up for yourself." Bear in mind, I've had fights previous before that, but I wasn't 100%, do you mean? So then my mother was like, "I'll take you there." At the time, I was 14. And I said, "Yeah, let's go." So me and my mate, my brother, goes into the gym. He was like, "Wow, what am I doing there?" But instantly, we was welcome in. So Pappy Jones, this guy I love the bit. He looked after me. He welcomed me, and his two sons, Wesley and Jordan, and Kaya and Sam. So yeah, the little brothers. At the time they were little, but they're 6 foot now. So they welcomed me like part of the family. Me and my mate. And we was training all the time. We'd go to fairs together. We grew a friendship like a family, do you mean? And he looked after us. So basically, it got started from there with him, and he trained me. A very good trainer as well. I'll give him that. I fought for the Welsh Championship as well because of him. If it wasn't for him, I don't think I didn't believe in myself. That's the issue. And like, even still to this day, I get days I don't believe in myself. I've had days recently like, "Oh, can I really do this?" It's the self-doubt with the mental health, and it gives you that thought. Well, I've always had that, so it's just like, block it out. Let's just get stuck into it, which is the only thing I get through. And like I said, I fought for Pappy for 6-7 years. I gave it up when I was 17. So yeah, I stopped training when I was 17, and that's where the trouble started for me when I stopped, big time.
Yeah. Well, we'll come to the trouble now, but before we do, some of those amateur
Mm.
highlights, I mean,
Yeah,
can you share with us a little bit like how many fights you had, what some of your personal
yeah,
favorite
of
ones
course.
were?
Basically, the first boy I boxed, I actually boxed him 6 times, and it was always. I shouldn't say this, but his coach was quite high up in the EBA, sorry, and I got robbed a few times on those fights with him. I know I beat him, and he knows too. And if there's ever a chance of a rematch with bare knuckle, and he went, I'll go again. Do you know what I mean? But that's bygones. The guy that's gone, isn't it? But I got robbed. I had about 15 fights altogether. I fought for the amateur 3 times. I got robbed. I'll tell you a story best. Me and my brother Gareth, I was mentioned earlier on, we actually fought that last time I won my Welsh Championship together. And all the way through it, we was punching each other. We was just literally crying we was. Do you mean? Because we didn't want to hurt each other. But the other 2 championships, I got robbed. I had a point taken off me as well because I wiped my nose with the blood, which I didn't know he wasn't supposed to. That was on my first championship hours. So that got taken off me. So I lost that by that. The second one, I just got robbed, completely robbed. And the third was my best mate. And to be honest with you, I didn't want to win that fight. I just didn't want to be in there. But obviously, as a fighting man, you got to do these things, haven't you? And it was the same for him. He didn't want to win, but unfortunately, he did win. And I'm like I said, I've never gone against Stags. I'm glad he won it. Do you know what I mean? Because that meant everything to him as a traveling man to him. Do you know what I mean? And to me, at the end of it, when I was fighting then, it didn't really mean much to me. So I kind of grown out of it, like, and I was like, I just didn't want to be here no more. It got to that stage. It went love. It was a chore. That it became a chore, and I just didn't enjoy boxing anymore. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
yeah,
So, okay, so at this point in time, like you were saying, 17, you started coming out of the game and things, and
Mhm.
there's some other things that happened to you. Now,
Yeah,
obviously, as I mentioned earlier, nothing negative that we sort of hone in on, focus on, always to show, it's
yeah,
always to show how people can overcome stuff.
of
So,
course.
getting into this type of thing,
Mm.
you'll have to guide me a bit because I don't know the ins and outs of it, but
Yeah,
just some of the things that happened, if you could share those and how you came back from it. But let's start with,
yeah.
where things started to go a little bit wrong for you,
Things
basically.
started going wrong while I was 17, and I could get in nightclubs at 17, which is the worst mistake in my life. I met some people, well, good people, and there's bad people. I started doing stuff that I shouldn't be doing, like substance abuse. I was drinking more than I ever have. And I wasn't a drinker, but then it got to that lifestyle. I was out from one weekend to the other. At one point, my mother reported me missing because I was gone for 2 weeks. Do you know what I mean? I got into that stage where I just constantly was on like a bender. I didn't sleep. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, do you know, then I met a girl, but then the girls come into it, and then you get into that relationship thing, and then you definitely don't get back into boxing because you're tied up in a relationship, enjoying these things, going out and meals and that, and you just get lazy. And then, like I said, it wasn't a really good part, like a few years for me. Doing, I went through this was before I had the kids. I was hitting the drugs bad. Um, I was in the end. I shouldn't really say this, but I was getting rid of it to pay for my own. If do you mean? But obviously, incriminating myself there, but never mind. But I don't mind that. I mean, people know what I've done. Do you mean? The people that know me know I'm not that person no more. Do you know what I mean? So I'm happy enough to tell you. But it isn't a good thing to do. So whoever's watching this, kids or you're my age, don't start it because at the end of the day, it ruined me. Absolutely ruined me. I was 7 stone in the end, from 10 stone to 7 stone in a matter of 4 months. I had baggy jumpers on to hide the fact I lost all that weight. My mother didn't notice. And then there was this drug come out called, I don't know if I'm not allowed to name it, but
Yeah.
it was a MCAT. That came out. And that was just, that took my life. It literally took me to the part where I don't know, I went against my own family, turned me. I nearly lost my family for that stuff. Jobs. doing relationships. But yeah, it's not a good thing, and like I wouldn't advise that to any child, adult, I mean teenager, even doing. It's not good. Don't do it. Like I really wish. Well, I hope whoever's listening just doesn't do it. But if they are doing it, try and get out of it. Try and do something positive in their life, because it affected my mental health. I think at one point that's what caused it, in a way. Because I always had a bit of mental health anyway, but it weren't like I suffered that time, and it was horrible, horrible. But yeah, that's part of it anyway.
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, man, I mean, I got a lot of respect for you putting that out there, because it's it's a brave thing to talk about. It's obviously
Yeah.
not easy for you to talk
Oh,
about.
no.
I get the feeling. So I got a lot of respect for you putting it out there. And as I mentioned, if it helps even one person, to not go down that road, or if
No.
they're going down that road to come off it, that type of thing, then we've done our job, we've done our thing,
Yeah, of course.
How would you say then that, like, particularly with kids and but anybody who's susceptible, like someone's giving them to, why don't you try this or whatever? How can people stay away from those sorts of temptations, do you think? What advice would you give for that?
I could give you the best advice I ever. If you're around the people that's doing it, don't get out of it. Find yourself a new group of friends as soon as possible, and don't go out clubbing with those people. If you're going to go out with your girlfriend or family, have a meal, or go for a few pints on the weekend with a good group of friends, if anything. Do you know what I mean? Don't go out with the wrong group that's doing it, because then later in life, go along, you'll just be unrecognizable in yourself. You will. Don't do it. Just stay away from the bad crowds. That's all I gotta say from that, because that's what done me over. Bad crowds.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, well, you know what they say with this. I mean, we become like the people we spend the most time with. Actually, they do say you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's how you predict where you're going to be in the future. And it's very, very true. Yeah, who you hang
And
out.
it's quite sad, I'll admit it as well. They weren't bad people as in like horrible people. They were good people just on the wrong path. And do you know what? I will say this now, and it's probably going to make some other people think as well. They know some of them are no longer here anymore, and they passed. Do you know what I mean? So there's another example for it as well. There, do you know what I mean? Because that's what scared me as well at one point. I was scared of not waking up, and then it got to the stage that I didn't care if I woke up. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to explain. It's quite bad terms and there's good terms in it as well. You do meet some nice people, but you meet bad as well. And I don't want anybody else going for that. I don't. It's disgusting.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's a big issue. I mean, it's a big issue all over lots of places, but especially for us, in Wales and everything. It's a big problem.
Yeah.
And it's shocking how rife it is nowadays, and well, yeah, it's really good to get the message out there. With
100%.
the mental health side of things, obviously it was messing with your head a lot. So to get into the recovery a little bit as well, in terms of like how you started coming off the stuff, how you started leaving the scene, but also, how you started to recover mentally, because that's a big fight in and of itself,
I'm still never fully recovered. I don't think I'll ever recover from it properly, mentally. My body might, do you know what I mean? As you can see now, I'm fit. But mentally, there's always that still there. But medication, and I don't want people to not take medication. For me, the medication that I got put on, they block my emotion, they block my thoughts and everything. For instance, when my uncle died, this is where I get the name Taff. It's from my uncle. When he died, I struggled to grieve for my uncle, and that was because of those medication. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not telling people not to take it. If it works for them, please take it. But for me, medication wasn't for me. This is what it does for me. Doing the training, the family, my kids, my 2 beautiful girls that's in South Wales. I'm in North Wales now, obviously. My little boy just I've not long been born. He's 2 months old now, and I tell you what, I got my hands full, and he's keeping me busy as well. And the first run I ever went back to training with was when she was pregnant, and it was a bit of a complications. She's coming early with him. And I said, right, you were fighting with him inside out. I'm gonna go for a run today. I'm gonna do something positive. I'd done it for about 2 weeks, and I was like, I'm done. I can't do it. That's when my mental health kicked in again. It put me doubts. So it doubted me, like, you can't do that. And I stopped. So I mean, it's the vicious little thing, the mental health. It does work in different ways, but then you could change it into a positive as well. Because my mental health at the minute, if those days come now, right? Say for instance now, like yesterday, then I didn't train much yesterday. I had a class to run. So anyway, because I missed that class, tomorrow morning now, I'm doing a 6 mile run because I didn't train that day that hard. Obviously, normally I run 3 miles a day. Because I missed that day, I've personally drained into my head, like, in other words, to stick to my head, right, you miss a day, you're going to have to do that extra 3 mile or 2 mile or extra 4 rounds on that bag or extra 4 rounds sparring. And to be honest with you, it works for me. I don't know if it's going to work for everybody else, but I'd advise them, give it a try if anything, if they're training and doing one more rep, even if you're doing weightlifting, push it to one more rep. Do you mean? Because that is strengthening the mind. And that is, well, in the last, like I said, month, this is what I brought into it. I was watching a video, in fact, on YouTube. Like I said, I watched you on YouTube a lot. And I watch other ones. And that came on a video one day, and I was like, I'm going to give that a go. Like, I'm going to give it a try. And it works because I feel so much better because I've pushed that extra mile or extra bag up. But in a way, it's getting me ready for the fight as well at the same time. So it's doing me doing. But like I said, so whoever's doing it, give it a try. And if it don't work for them, it doesn't work. But it works for me. It might not work for everybody else. But yeah.
Well, I tell you what, man, I mean, the training side of things, it works wonders because the thing about medication, and I've had quite a few guys on the show who talk about this,
Yeah.
is my personal opinion on it is what they should do as sort of a last resort. What they should do is like when there's nowhere else to go, there's no other options. We've really hit the end of the road. Instead of doing it as a last resort, they're doing it as a first response. So people come in and then the first thing they say is take a tablet. They don't want to be listening to why do you feel this way? How did you get into this position? How do you feel about yourself? Does your family support you? Blah, blah, blah. And when I've personally been through very emotionally difficult, painful times in my own life, the biggest thing that's helped is having somebody who listens because obviously they can give you the feedback on how you got there, but also when you're talking it out, hearing yourself say it, I know it might sound strange, but it makes more sense to you as well than when it's just around your own head. But instead of that, they just want to ram pills down people's throats. And I'm not the same as you. I don't think you shouldn't do it, but it's got to be much later down the road. Whereas thing and that thing where you're like zombified type of thing, so many lads on there, fighters and people have said it. And even when I've worked with people like quite famous people, like I worked with Frank Bruno before and Tyson Fury, they say it as well, that Frank Bruno went on medication, he came off it again, he was much better. Tyson Fury, I don't think he ever went on it, he always fixed it from training. But like and I've had a bunch of lads on this show, same as you, but the first thing they go in somewhere and they say, right, you're in trouble, and they virtually ramming a pill down your throat. It's not the way to do it, man. You got to listen to people and what people have to say. That's my personal.
Your body is right. You got to listen to your body because at the time, I like those tablets I was on at the time. I put a lot of weight on for them. They were making me sleep as well. But I could go to bed at 9 o'clock at night, and these tablets would be making me sleep till 1 o'clock the next day. They were knocking me out. And obviously, like with the doctor side of the medication, they just, like you just said, they just give them to you. Yeah. Without even asking me like the problems are really, they didn't offer me any counselling like I asked them for. Do you know what I mean? I'm not slagging the engine off or nothing because not everything can be done. But if there was more help for the mental health side, like I just said, now the counselling or a course I could go on, there was nothing offered to me. Do you know what I mean? Like I'll go back to when I was 16, and then I tried to hang myself over a girl, and the rope snapped. I thought he's watching over me, and I'll be this is on my baby's life now. The rope snapped in my father's shed, and he's probably gonna look at this and thought, so he's never heard it. All my mum, they've never heard this story, and not many people have. Only my partner. So if I hadn't have happened, I probably wouldn't have been here today. Do you know what I mean? So obviously somebody was watching over me back then. I believe it. Do you know what I mean? But like obviously the later part, like I said, the medication, because I did it for a long, long time. My mother and father didn't know a thing. I'm a very blocked out person. Do you know what I mean? It takes me a lot to talk about stuff, I guess. And obviously now I'm open enough to be able to talk about it. Like years ago, even up until 2 years ago, I couldn't talk like I am now because I was just so surrounded by my own thoughts, and it blocked me out. And like my mother, God, I loved the best, but I could, like, even though close to her, I just, like, I wish I could have spoke to her. And like even now she knows some things, innit? And she's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" I was like, "Because I couldn't. I couldn't talk to anybody." But this is another message. You can talk to people. If it's not friends, talk to a stranger. Because the best person I spoke to was the girl I'm with now, was my kid's mother. And we spoke over the internet at first. We were friends. And I just don't know. She just done something to me. I just blabbed it all out. And you know, she just sat down and listened one night, and I was like, and then obviously that brings stuff on with the feelings and that. And I told her, "Look, I got feelings for you," and that's how we ended up together, believe it or not. But she supported me through it. She's got a big, massive, massive support and part of this journey with me. She's in there with me. Do you know what I mean? Like, she gets up in the morning, 7 o'clock sometimes, to wake me up. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes she don't want to miss me training. She knows if I miss training, I'm going to be hard on myself. So she is fighting it with me. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's got problems herself, but she's still supporting me for this day. Like I said, she had brought me on amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think this is the part of me coming out of something bad, but she's the big, big part of it. And obviously my boy now and my 2 kids are gone South Wales. But yeah, I don't think I'd be this far if they were pushing me in boxing. Do you know what I mean? And the love I got for it, like I said earlier on, it's part of because of her. Do you know, it's amazing what she is, and she doesn't realise how good she is sometimes. That's do you know what I mean? She brings tears to my eyes sometimes. She does. It gets to me now. Do you know what I mean? She's an amazing woman. Like, do you know what? I've like my kid's mother. I've never loved anybody as much in a relationship like I do now, and I didn't think I'd be in this sort of thing. I didn't think I'd feel like this. Do you mean, relationship wise? Never been that type of person. I've always been a bit of a boy and a half. And I wasn't a good boy, and I'm sorry, girls, but part of the journey, and you grow up.
Absolutely. Well, I got to say, I mean, man, that's a beautiful story, actually. I mean, I know it's some of these things are not easy for you to share, but I mean, in
Oh,
terms of
definitely.
like how she's contributed so much to your life and helped to save you from this
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful thing that is. And you're very lucky because a lot of people don't
I
have
am. Yeah.
they don't ever find that. A lot of people don't ever.
No, and if you do find that, don't mess it up. Don't ever mess it up, because it's the one time you're gonna feel, I guess, and then it's amazing. I never want to lose it. So
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm glad you put that out there as well, because you
oh,
know what, in this day and age,
yeah,
a lot of people doubt if that's even possible, I mean, with a lot
yeah,
of
of
things.
course. I know, and like, you might not think, it might not come now. It might come in 10 years' time in future, or even, do you know what I mean? But it will come. That person will be there for you, and that person is going to build you and make you. And that's exactly what she's done to me. She's built me. Like, I know it's not a bad thing. It is a bad thing, but if I'd met her 10 years ago, I wouldn't have been half of the boy I've been. I wouldn't have been doing half the things I've done. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would probably get into this in a bit with my aggression, and as well, we'll get into that later on, which caused my convictions as well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, we will get into that in
yeah,
just a minute. Before we
oh,
do, I mean, if you don't mind me mentioning this, I mean, you said about the attempt to take your own life and
yeah,
everything
yeah.
earlier, do like a sort of broken-hearted thing or whatever it was over a girl. Did people know about that at the time? Did anyone know, or you just
No
you?
one.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, my partner knows about it now, but the only person that knows about this is her. So now everybody whoever's watching it, my family, they're all hearing it now. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, there's been another time where I tried walking in the sea. My mother knew her. She's one of those there. But that was the first time. But the second time, my mother was there. So like I said, the first time I done it, I didn't have any like thought. I was numb. And when I actually done it afterwards, I actually scared myself. I could have been gone in a split second, because it only takes 2 or 3 minutes for you to go from there. Do you know? I was like, wow, thank God for that. Do you know? It's all. Do you
Yeah.
know? And yeah, no one over it. No one.
And what would you say to somebody who's in that situation where basically they're thinking there's no other way out except
I'm
that?
gonna. Yeah, I'm going to tell them straight to the point now. If there's no one you could talk to, find a stranger. Do you mean, or you think you could talk to, or your family, talk to somebody. Do you mean, there's 4 helplines out there for that as well. I never had the confidence to do those things, to ring these people or to talk to some of these people as well. I didn't have much confidence in myself, like I said. So that was a big part of mental health and confidence. And like I said, I couldn't talk to anybody. It's only till I met my partner that I could speak about it. But talk. You gotta just talk. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter who. So you could just talk.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it is well, it's a powerful message. I mean, it's
Oh, of course, yeah.
powerful. I mean, is what you're saying there. Um, wow. I mean, that's a story so far. I mean, yeah, we'll touch on the conviction side of things there.
Yeah.
You mentioned that. I mean, I don't, like I've said to you before, I don't want to dwell on this stuff, but again, it's a path a lot of people go down, and especially us as men, handling
I'm
our
learning.
emotions, handling anger,
Yeah.
handling frustration, this type of stuff. It's
Mm.
not really, it's not always easy. Well, oftentimes it's not easy, and it's not taught either. I mean, a lot of the time now, people teach to sort of push anger out the way. It's something you've got to channel, something you've got to use constructively. So what was sort of happening when you were getting in trouble with in some of these situations?
Um, like I said, it was like family issues at the time. Basically, I, I, I was living with my cousin at the time. This is when it first really, really got me in trouble. I was looking at 6 months in prison. My cousin's boyfriend at the time, he's no longer with me now. He threatened to she threatened to kick my he threatened to kick my head off because I knocked his door to come in because I was living there. And I don't know, something just clicked in my head, like the fire in me, like a hot-headed as I am. I got up off the settee. I just rolled the fag at the time. So I got up off the settee. I went into the bedroom. I said, "What did you say?" And as I said that, he got up and tried to come for me. So obviously I retaliated. And I hit him and hit him and hit him and constantly hit him. I ended up in court on an assault, and for common assault it was. They dropped it on the common assault. And I was looking at 6 months. And my solicitor was like, my solicitor was quite funny, if anything. It's quite a funny story as well. He was a bit like, like the Swintown, the probation officer. That's the way he spoke to me. And I was like, this is my solicitor talking to me like this. And my father was like, he's a boy and a half, isn't he? I was like, yeah. But anyway, we went into court and I got found not guilty of it because I was guilty, but I wasn't guilty of it. Do you know what I mean? I did hit them. I did. Did I regret it afterwards? In a way, yes. But for what he done to my cousin, no. And I don't wish the people to do this violence. I don't accept. Do you mean? It's like I said, I'm not telling people to go and fight out in the street or hit anybody in anger. It's what I went for at the time. So that was the first one. And then the second one, it was basically in the street. It was a stupid thing. So I hit the boy again. I was looking at EBH for that one. I was like, oh no, June. That got in and faded. All of my stuff got in and faded, anyway. And then there was a few more, but I'm just going to name the worst one. It's easier, yeah. Almost 70 times I got arrested for these things. The last one, he said something out in the street to me. Was towards my sister, and it was unforgivable. And I couldn't let that go. And even though, like, I was just walking back from the gym, in fact, it was across the road from my dad's house. He said something really, really inappropriate, and I wouldn't say on you because it might get banned for that. But you can imagine what, yeah. The local people who know me know this story. So anyway, I beat him to the pulse. His eyes looked there, his face looked there. He tried to get me arrested for his phone, so they had another charge on me as well. He tried to smash his phone up. So I was looking at GBH for that one, and I got out to the interview, and this police woman, I don't know, she might watch this at Jen, and she said to me, "Next time you come in here, you won't be coming out here, Dean." She said, "Look how many times you've been arrested. You've got away with it so far." She said, "We know you've done it." But she said, "This is going to be the last time you're going to walk out here. You're going to get remanded." So I was quite taken back by it. I was like, hang on. Do you mean I'm going to be in big trouble here? No, the next time I do something like this, I thought, I'm going to be away from my kids, because at the time my kids were born. Obviously, my kids are way older at that point. My daughter was 4 at the time, in fact. So I was like, I'm not going to want to miss out on any lives. Doing I could have to do 3 years, 4 years for this GBH or whatever it was, doing afterwards. I thought, if I come back into this again, I'm not going to come out. Doing like they're clamping down on this fighting business. If you fight in the street now, expect to go to jail. Simple as that. This is why I don't do it anymore. And like, obviously, if a confrontation come to me, then it come to me. Do you mean? But I don't like fighting out in the street. But this is why I'd rather do anything than I would out in the street. Because if I hit somebody, I kill them. And obviously with the boxing thing as well, it's class as a weapon, the answer. You could do life. And is it worth that from? No, I know he said something bad. I think about this now all the time. I know he said something bad, but was that really worth it when I could have killed him? No, it wasn't. I should have done it the right way and reported it myself. I know I seen as a grass. I'm not a grass, by the way. But what he said to my sister was disrespectful, and obviously to me. And he should have gone down for what he said alone. Do you know what I mean? But bygones be bygones. He's gone now. And like I said, I don't hold this anger in me anymore. That's what took the anger out of me. Is that situation when I thought I was going to go to jail next time. And I thought, I don't want to miss my kids out. A lot of people do get up. I'm going to miss out on their kids. I don't want to be that dad. I don't want my kids coming to prison to visit me. And still now to this day, I don't want to go to prison. And I plan not to. Do you know what I mean? And it's the same goes for anybody else. Get that thought in your head as well. If you've got kids, you're going to miss out so much on those kids' lives. This is what goes through my head. You're going to miss, like, for instance, my boy now, if I go jail now for fighting, because these idiots out and about that don't like me, if I hit them, I'm going to miss out my son's first 2 years, maybe a year. It doesn't matter. I'm going to miss his first steps, his first words. And I'm risking these things. I don't want to be doing it. And I asked him about my heart. I'm telling you straight from my heart. It's not a good thing. Like, if you've got anger issues, get some help. Do you know what I mean? Speak. The same thing again. Speak. And try and get help through it. So then, lucky enough, I went back to the gym, lifted weights, and that took the anger out of me because I was so pumped. But yeah, training helped me for my bad things, and that's it, mate. That's basically it. Training is one for me.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, as I said at the beginning, the things you've overcome in your life, fair play to you. Fair play to you. I mean, absolutely well done. Wow. I mean, I'm blown away because obviously I knew bits and pieces, but like when you hear the full story and everything, and for getting it out there for the first time, I've got to say, well done. Give yourself a pat on the back because it's a brave thing to do. And also, I'm sort of humbled, that you've said this for the first time on my podcast.
Of course, this is the first ever podcast I've ever done. Like, so I'm the first person. You're the first person I'm telling, and obviously the world now. But you are the first, sir.
Well, that's an honor in itself. So thank you very much. Now, with this, we've talked about some really, really good stuff. So we'll wrap it up soon, for people's attention and everything. I keep you to about an hour, but we got into some amazing content because obviously this is going to help people from all different points of view.
I hope so.
The mental health, the anger management, suicide awareness. I mean, there's a bunch of different things we did here. I'm well happy. So moving into the last couple of things, you mentioned about your partner and how much she's helped you and how she's saved you and brought you back from the brink. Are there other people that you'd like to in this? Let's give them a mention.
Right. Big respect to Ozzy Thomas, the People's Gym. Right. This guy now have supported me from 8 weeks ago when I first walked in here. Welcomed me. So did the others here. My fair play to the group. But I'm also, like I said, I'm helping the others here. I'm training the other boys as well. I'm taking on classes now as well because of him. He's given me that confidence, that extra mile off as well. I got mates around here. How I met Ozzy is because of another guy. He's like, Dean, you should get back into the boxing. And that was like previous before my girlfriend said about it. And then one day he said, Dean, you come to gym tonight? And at our time, I was training in my old weightlifting gym upstairs in the bag. He said, you come to boxing tonight? He said, I have it in this bag. He said, come to ours. He said, I'll have a proper class. I was like, yeah, I'm coming in. And that's because of them two people, just Jake and obviously Ozzy Thomas brought me straight. And then we got Harry now, which is my pad man. Wes Simpson, my sparring partner. Chris Leo, my other sparring partner. I got 2 sparring partners, 2 top boys. Chris have started since the same time as me, but obviously I've been helping him as well on the things like the boxing side to it. And he's coming along nice. I will say this about him: keep it up, Chris. You're doing good, mate. And yeah, them couple of the people I've named now, fair play to them, like, to me, because like I said, it takes a lot for me to get into something and meet new people as well. Like, I'll talk to anybody anyway, don't get me wrong, but to be as close as I am now, the support Ozzy's giving me right now is unbelievable. I will say this about Ozzy. Do you know what I mean? The guy is an absolute gentleman. Like, welcoming me in. At one point, I will say this, and I'm not ashamed to say this, I only had 25 quid to my name. Well, not to my name, but for the training for the month. And he said, "Don't worry, that sound." He said, "Come in." And this is why it's called the People's Gym, because he wants everybody who's suffering, like, with the mental. He is a big supporter of it as well. Come in. Do you mean? Even if you're from North Wales and you're in the area, do you mean? Come in to see me if you want to. Come in to see Ozzy, Harry. Do you mean? We're all a good group of people here, like. And as you can see from the gym behind me, it's all, you've got the weights at the top of there. It's a really nice gym to be in, like. And I've been in a few gyms, and this is what up with Pappy's gym and Chapman's. As you know Dan Chapman yourself, but big respect to Azio for bringing me into this. And in fact, he's done a bare knuckle himself, so he knows what in and outs are. So when it comes to the training, look, he knows what to expect. It was perfect for me because, like, I didn't want to go to a gym that's never experienced that bare knuckle either. Because obviously with bare knuckle, it's a savage sport. Do you know what I mean? Savage. And if I go in there unexpected, obviously I'm still unexpected now because I don't know what my boy's going to bring, but I know he's going to be a good fight. But with him as me as a coach, and he's been there, he knows in and out. I got a good support right now. I will say that. And I can't fault them. I really can't, because, like I said, I've come from South Wales to North Wales, from not knowing no one apart from my partner. I've gone to gyms. I've met people, nights out.
But no, I mean, the way they've helped you is amazing that I mentioned, because obviously you know them and they know you and you're in the community together. But from the outside world, the people helping you, they're sort of behind the scenes in a way, you know.
Yeah.
Give them that, like, a mention and respect that they deserve is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got into some amazing stuff. Now, I've said to a few people lately, and I'm going to say to you as well, that we'll do this again, I hope, like a few fights down the line. So, after the your debut, on June 7th, maybe maybe after that, maybe one more fight after that. Later.
Maybe when I go for the title, maybe, Jane. I'm open.
Yeah, you go.
That's what I'm looking to do. So if it could be on my next fight. It could be soon. It could be months. I don't know. But I'm hoping to get on the BKB next, with Jim Freeman. That's what I'm hoping to get to. I just got to get my footage out there for him to see what I'm like. Because at a minute, I've got from the amateur days, but those videos are gone. Do you know what I mean? I'll never get them back because they got recorded on the old videotape back then, won't they? So obviously, I'm going to get fresh footage. I'm going to train like I am, harder and harder each time, and hopefully get some good wins. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hopefully get his title fight with Welsh Combat Series. And then from there on, that's when I'm ready. I'll go to the Jim Freeman's. And hopefully, if I get a chance, Jim, if you give me a chance, big respect to you, mate. You're a legend of a guy. You're funny. You're on my social media. And you're crackers, mate. Some of the stuff he posted, unbelievable.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah.
He's mad,
Big shout out to Jim and every time he changed the face of
course. Like, look how many guys he's helped out, like where they are now. Like look at the level those boys are on now. It's amazing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, these headphones is. Katie, take the headphones out.
Yeah.
Yes.
A few more fights down the line, we'll do this again. That's amazing. Yeah. And we got some good content here, mate. So I'm going to edit this up, okay? I'll get this to you over the next couple of days. I'll put it up on my YouTube over the next couple of days. And then we'll get it out there. And let's tell the world, first of all, who you are, get you some more exposure, get you some and obviously help some people while we're at it. Because that's
mate, like I said, if I can help anybody from this podcast with you, I'll be happy to help them out. Like, even just talking to them, they just want to chat, message me. You know my name now, Dean Taff Morris on Facebook. Contact me on that. Give me a message. Even ring me. I don't care if it's 11 o'clock in the night. Give me a ring. Do you know what I mean? I don't care. I'll happily help anybody out because I don't want to see anybody go for what I've been through. Do you know what I mean? And my partner will tell you that as well. She's seen the darkest days of me, bad days. And I wouldn't wish anybody that. So if you've got problems, do you know what I mean? Or you're going through a rough patch on drinking alcohol or drugs or whatever it is, just, do you know what I mean? Give me, I'm no therapist, whatever it is, but a counsellor, but I'm there for people if they want me, do you know what I mean? And do you know, I'm always there for whatever they need. You know.
Absolutely. Man of the people, just like
Yeah.
the gym, you
That's
know,
the
I
thing,
love
like,
it. I
like
love
I
it.
said, I'm not fake nothing, as you can see from this video. Do you know what I mean? And the people who know me in person and me will know about this. I'm no fake, and I've always been there for a lot of people. So and they know who they are now. Do you know? And like I said, the boys here training. Like one boy went to Marbella 2 days ago. He just come back today. Big shout out to you, Matt, mate. You done well. He lost, but he done well. The boys had 12 fights. He's never had a fight in his life. He went out there, knocked the boy down twice. Big respect to that boy, and I've helped him. And that's 2 weeks' notice. Do you know what I mean? I'm helping boys that's like fresh into the game. They never boxed. Do you know what I mean? And they're learning from sparring me. Obviously, I got to take a lighter on them, but I'll tell them if they're open and they're low or the guard or they're not moving. I will tell them I'm going to catch you, and if I catch you, I will hurt you. So they keep the hand up and they keep on going. But like I said, I'll help in many different ways. Like when the boys and training, just even like speak to or whatever it is, I can help. I'll try my best if I can, and if I can't, then I will try.
Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.